everyone, myself Dipesh, and I'm here to speak about the newest Frappe Enterprise application, which is Frappe Lending. So I'll quickly start from my previous year's presentation. I had introduced Frappe Lending as the lending framework. So in my previous presentation, I briefly covered how Frappe Lending covers the basic flow of any type of lending cycle. And like with that, we almost had feature parity for all the features that a core basic LMS needs. So the past year for us have been like making this more stable and scalable. For that, we have increased our test coverage from like almost doubled our test coverage from 40 to 80%. And along with that, we have also worked on some scalability issues. So again, most of these developments were driven by our customer support, and the progress on that can be clearly seen with the ever declining support ticket trend. Along with that, we were also dealing with large number of data, and for that, we have made various optimizations as well. Uh, Apart from that, we have also worked on few features like ability for the user to configure the loan repayment, loan accrual frequencies. Uh, then we have added a concept called as transaction dated and value dated accounting. Most of the financial systems work on this concept where you have a separate date for your ledger and a separate date for your business accounting logic. Again, I won't explain this feature into too much deep. Maybe you can read the documentation on how this works. Then the initial version that we came out with did not have backdated payment reposting, because again, like backdated payments need reposting. So now we have also added automated reposting. So whenever a user posts a backdated payment, the system automatically handles all the reposting, and you can go and seamlessly make backdated payments. Again, like our other products, the goal even with Frappe Lending was to build something very generic on top of which like users can build their specialized workflows, integrations, underwriting, and that is again what we have been doing with Frappe Lending. There are again different flavors of a lending system. You have your working capital loan, loan against property, supply chain finance, personal loans. Again, all of these systems are somewhat different from each other. And Frappe Lending acts as a core bookkeeping and accounting system and does all the heavy lifting with the calculations, and it allows users to build their own journeys around Frappe Lending. Again, we'll pick one simple example, which is supply chain finance from all of this, and try and briefly explain how easily you can build such systems using Frappe Lending. For those who don't know supply chain finance is a financial product that basically helps buyers, sellers optimize their cash flow needs. The way this works is there are three entities involved in this workflow: buyer, a seller, and the lender, which is the NBFC. Again, the buyer gets into an agreement with the seller and raises a PO for some goods. After that, the seller sends an invoice to the buyer. Instead of immediately paying the seller, again, there are some payment cycles. So the buyer sends that invoice to the NBFC, but the seller also has their cash flow requirements and they need cash for buying their raw materials and other things, right? So instead of buyer directly paying to the seller, the NBFC releases the invoice value to the seller, either with the discounted value, which is again also called as invoice discounting, or on a specific due date, the amount is payable. Then once the buyer has the cash, they pay it to the NBFC instead of paying it to the seller. So this is how a typically supply chain finance cycle works. So Ayush from Frappe Lending team will quickly show you a demo of how this actually works.
Uh, Hello everyone. So I'm going to show you how we implemented supply chain financing inside the Frappe lending framework. It took us 2 days. So like think about like how powerful the generic framework that we've built is. So like Deepesh explained to you, we have three roles here: buyer, seller, and NBFC. So like in our app, you can view it from any of the three roles. So you saw the diagram before, right? So this is a one-to-one translation of it into Frappe's workflow builder. So shout out to Sharik, by the way. Like this is really a nice workflow editor. And then while we were building our loan origination module, we found that workflows were a little underpowered. Like you couldn't actually run like do a lot of things while workflow transitions were happening. So we decided to add methods to it, so you can run any sort of server scripts, webhooks, or your own code while you are making transitions. So like we used it here. So now you can make API calls while you are transitioning during workflows. So I'll give you a brief showcase of how like the app runs. This is a walkthrough of it. So first you make a buyer. So like a seller logs in and creates a buyer. So like they register them into the system. So you have to enter all of these details like GST, registration number, and all. And then also the owner has to be added here for credit verification. So then now when you create like click on the verification button, an API call is made. So you can right from your screens, you can directly make credit checks and business verifications. So after that you create credit limits. So credit limits are analogous to agreements, as you saw in the previous slides. So here you when the buyer and seller have a contract, this is their agreement, and this like sets how their agreement is going to look like. Like this is their validity period, and then you also set a maximum limit amount for it, and then this sets for like this sets the stage for the further processes. Like from here you create like the seller creates invoices, and like this invoice is created by the seller, and then it goes through multiple stages. Like you first like add some like set the amount that you are going to be disbursing, and then after that the buyer has to approve it. So like it goes to the buyer, and then the buyer approves it, and then the NBFC again checks if everything is correct, and only after that they approve it. And after that there's another step where the NBFC finally disburses the amount. So all of this is happening through workflows, and then finally after the date of repayment, the repayment is also made by the buyer. So this is the repayment schedule generated, by the way. Like it shows all the dates where you have to repay the amount, and what the number of installments are. So so this is where you make the repayment. Like the buyer finally selects what limit they had chosen, and then they finally pay the amount. So yeah, it is paid. So basically this was supply chain financing in 3 minutes. So I'll call Deepesh now.
Thank you, Aish, for the great demo. So yeah, again, this is just the beginning. There's a lot yet to come. Again, this is basically a specific list of feature or roadmap that you can say will be coming up within future. So yeah, again, we are very much new into this domain, and we are still learning. Like we have just been almost, I guess, just 2 years into this, and again, this industry is heavily controlled by enterprises. So we have been talking to multiple enterprises, and yeah, learning. So, and again, we have seen a general interest from the enterprises across for the framework Frappe lending product. So yeah, if you are interested, we have a desk set up on the second floor. Maybe we can have, you can discuss. Our team will be available. Thank you.